So, welcome everyone. Good to see you all. Tonight, we are continuing with our study of the Nectar of Devotion. And tonight we will be covering chapter 13 of the Nectar of Devotion. If you have any questions or any comments as we go, then please ask. So, chapter 13 is called the 5 potent forms of devotional service. So as we know, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, surrender unto me. The verse before, he says, surrender unto him in 4 ways. And then those 4 ways are taken by Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam and expanded into 9 items of bhakti, which are famous. And then from the 9 items of bhakti, they are expanded by Rupa Goswami into 64 items of bhakti, which is what we're studying at this point in time in the Nectar of Devotion. And after mentioning 59 items, the last 5, which make up the 64, they are somewhat repetitions of the previous 59. In other words, they're taken out of that list of 59. And the reason that they're repeated, apparently repeated, is to emphasize their extraordinary potency. That's why this chapter is called the 5 potent forms of devotional service. In other words, these 5 are considered the most potent forms of devotional service. That's why they're repeated again at the end in the item of 64, and that's why they're considered to be superlative or the most important of all the items of bhakti. So tonight we'll cover chapter 13, and we'll go through those 5 potent items of bhakti. And if you have any questions or comments as we go, then please ask. So Nectar of Devotion is a summary study of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is Rupa Goswami's book, which is one of the most important books in our sampradaya, in our tradition. And Prabhupada's summary study in the Nectar of Devotion, which in ISKCON is considered to be one of the most important books, if not the most important book. So the Nectar of Devotion is the commentary on summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it mentions in the Sanskrit these 5 items. So the first is Mathura Mandale Sthiti, which means residing in Mathura Mandala. Mandala means the mandala. It means like the space or the place, the mandala. You know, like we draw mandalas on the ground. You know, those artistic designs they do in India. You know, sometimes you see amazing designs. In Mayapur on Diwali, they do amazing mandalas. They design them. So Mathura Mandala means in the realm of Mathura. Sthiti means to reside in that place, to stay in that place. Sthiti means like fixed or to stay in that place. So Mathura Mandala Sthiti is one of the most important items of bhakti. Previously, it has been mentioned to visit Vrindavan, visit Mathura. And now it is saying to stay there, to live in there, which can mean physically, it can also mean mentally or within the mind, one can reside. If one can't physically reside in Mathura, Vrindavan, then one can reside there in the mind. The second item is Srimurte Anguri Sevane, which means to worship the Sri Murti or the deity of Krishna. Sevane means to serve. It is service. Sometimes deity worship is called puja. Puja literally means like worship. So it invokes a mood of awe and reverence. Whereas here it says Sri Murtir, Angri, Sevane means to serve. So it kind of denotes a more intimate relationship with the deity, which is what Rupa Goswami and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are ultimately teaching, that we worship the deity in service. Instead of like in a mood of worshipping in awe and reverence, it means like doing intimate service for the deity. Because when one becomes advanced in Krishna consciousness, that will be the meditation of the devotee. He will think, let me serve the deity, as opposed to worship the deity. Let me do service, intimate service, as one does for a friend, for a lover, or for a son. So it's a very high meditation, which is what the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the Nectar of Devotion, is gradually leading us to. The third item is hearing, the Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Bhagavat Artha Swado, which means hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, we know the Srimad Bhagavatam is considered to be the final authority in the Vedic literatures. Last night in Melbourne, we were teaching from chapter 8 of the Madhya Lila, which is called Ramananda Samvad, or the talks between Ramananda Roy and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is considered to be one of the most intimate sections of our philosophy, of our teachings. So it's a very deep conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy. So Lord Chaitanya was asking questions to Ramananda Roy. He asked a series of questions. And it's interesting, one thing I noticed is that in the purport, Prabhupada was quoting references, which I believe would have been quoted by the commentary, would have been taken from the commentary of his Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And for nearly every question that Lord Chaitanya asks, and the answer that Ramananda Roy gives, in the purport, Prabhupada quotes a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, which supports the particular answer that Ramananda Roy gives. So we can say, well, Ramananda Roy's answer can be referenced in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this shows the supreme position or the supreme authority of the Bhagavatam amongst all the Vedic literatures. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered it to be the topmost of the Vedic literatures. So it is considered to be one of the most important items of bhakti to study. And then Srinama Sankirtanam, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Srinam Sankirtanam. Sankirtanam means Samakirtan. Samakirtan means together in a group, congregationally. Congregational chanting of the holy name. This is the Yuga Dharma. It is the process for self-realization in the age of Kali. Kali Namarupe Krishna Avatar. It says in this age of Kali, Krishna appears as the holy name. So this is Sankirtan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in the Shikshastika, Param Vijayate, Sri Krishna Sankirtana. This Sankirtan process, or the process of congregationally chanting with devotees, just like today I was in Geelong, and I had my car got serviced. So my car got serviced in, for those of us who know Geelong, like Nissan's near West Vine Street. So I had to go to Warm Ponds. So, and the driver who normally takes us to where we need to go, he wasn't available, so I walked. And then it took, like about an hour to walk from that place to Warm Ponds. So, and then on the way, I was chanting to myself because, just walking. So I was chanting, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, different things. And then I thought to myself, wouldn't it be nice to have a group of devotees right now? We could do Sankirtan, because it's more relishable when you're with others chanting the holy names of Krishna. So this is called Samakirtan, or Sankirtan, which means congregational chanting. Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Lord Chaitanya says Param. Param means supreme. Vijay. Jai means victory, glory. Vijay means like extreme victory or very victorious. Param Vijayate means like complete victory. Like an emperor who just conquers the world. It means like that. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtana. The congregational chanting of the holy names will conquer everything. It is the process. Harinam, 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 Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva Gatia Anyata. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quotes, or his guru, Ishwara Puri quotes, there is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way in the age of Kali to become self-realized than to chant the holy name, to chant the holy name, to chant the holy name of the Lord. So that is the process of self-realization. So it's given here, Sankirtana, chanting the holy names of Krishna. And the fifth item of Bhakti is called Sajati Ya Shaya Snigdha Sri Bhagavad Bhakta Sango, serving a devotee. It means, literally it means serving with affection. If we break down the actual Sanskrit, it means with affection. Because if affection is not there, the service is not relishable for the person receiving the service and the person giving the service. There must be affection within the service. And it says Bhagavata, the devotee is known as a Bhagavat. A Bhagavat means an exalted personality. And actually, in his commentary on this, Jiva Goswami says specifically when it says we should associate with devotees, specifically it means with advanced devotees, specifically. We associate with all devotees equals and we give mercy to those less advanced, but to advance in Krishna consciousness, we especially need to associate with those who are more advanced than us, especially, because that will aid or assist our bhakti, our advancement more than anything else. And we were explaining to the devotees yesterday, I think, that you can only advance as much according to the association that you receive. In other words, the level of association. Like if you associate with someone very advanced, you can potentially become that advanced. And for all of us, we're fortunate because we get to associate with Prabhupada himself in the form of his teachings, his books, which Prabhupada says is even better than me. By associating with Prabhupada in his books, we get that opportunity that we can associate with a Bhagavat, a very advanced devotee, and that can lift us to the highest level of Krishna consciousness. So these are the five most important items of bhakti, five most potent items of bhakti. So on page 109, Srila Prabhupada states that these practices are so potent that a small attachment for any of these five items can arouse devotional ecstasy even in a neophyte. It's a very powerful statement, right? There's so much potency in these five items, even for someone who's neophyte, which means has not attained the platform of bhava, which means has not attained the platform of realizing his relationship with Krishna in terms of which rasa one is constitutionally situated in his relationship with Krishna. Even if you haven't attained that level, you can still feel ecstasy by performing these five types of bhakti. Even one of them or many of them together or all of them together. Right? You can feel great ecstasy. And that's the power of these five. So even in a neophyte, it's there. Giriraj Maharaj one time wrote to Prabhupada. It would have been very early, in the 70s. He wrote to Prabhupada and he said, sometimes when I'm in the Aarti ceremony of Rasa Bihari in Mumbai, the deities, he said, sometimes when I'm in the Aarti, tears come to my eyes. He wrote that to Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada said, this is very good. This is natural. This is the effect of when one is advancing in Krishna consciousness. Sometimes one will feel like that. Even though we may be a neophyte devotee, we may not have been practicing for very long, and we may not be very advanced in devotional service, but still we can feel a great amount of ecstasy. Even like symptoms of bhava can come. Sometimes tears can even come to our eyes, or we can feel very profound experiences, even in a neophyte position, even before we realize our relationship with Krishna. That's how powerful and potent these five items of bhakti are. So then, it explains devotional ecstasy refers to bhava bhakti. A neophyte in this context refers to one with weak attachment. Thus, even a neophyte devotee with the weak attachment to Krishna can quickly achieve bhava bhakti by practicing any one of these five most potent items. Now, spiritual, in the book of Waves of Devotion, it mentions spiritual program for rapid advancement. Srila Prabhupada used these five most potent items as pillars on which he built ISKCON's basic spiritual program. Right? Chanting Hare Krishna, which we do daily, daily hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, deity worship, which we engage in our temples around the world on a daily basis, associating with the devotees, and the establishment of facilities in Mayapur and Vrindavan. So Prabhupada based ISKCON on the teachings which are given to us in the Nectar of Devotion, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So these five items of bhakti, these are like the central focus of every devotee in the Hare Krishna movement. This is how we advance, by carefully observing these 5 types of bhakti, which are mentioned. Any one of these items can quickly arouse bhava, even in the neophyte. However, these powerful items will not bestow their effects as long as we commit offenses. That's why Lord Chaitanya says in the 2nd verse of the Shikshastika, Durdaivam idrisham ihajani nanuragaha. Nanuragaha. Anurag. Anurag means like, developing a rag, like a attachment or a taste for chanting, which is our goal. We want to develop a taste for chanting. But Durdaivam means we are unfortunate. We're unfortunate because sometimes we feel like we don't have a taste for chanting, or we don't have a taste for hearing about Krishna or engaging in devotional service. So then Lord Chaitanya says, Durdaivam, we are unfortunate. Now, what is that Durdaivam? That misfortune, what is that? That disallows us to develop a taste for devotional service, in particular for chanting the holy names of Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his commentary on Shikshastika, he says that it is offenses. If you commit offenses in devotional service, that will restrict you from feeling ecstasy in your bhakti. Now, the offenses are of 4 kinds, 4 general categories. There's Vaishnava aparad, Nama aparad, Seva aparad, and Jana aparad. These are the 5 broad categories. First is Nama aparad. Nama aparad means to commit offenses against the holy name of Krishna while chanting. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains the source, because there are 10 offenses while chanting the holy name. The 10 offenses we mention after Mangalati every day in our temples around the world. We go to Mangalati, and then after Mangalati, we recite the 10 offenses to refresh our memory in regards to chanting the holy name of Krishna. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says the cause of all the offenses is inattention while chanting. It means to chant inattentively, and you see it all the time. Devotees do it. They chant inattentively. Japa is actually a meditation, right? Where it's a meditation in devotional service, right? It's our meditation. Now, if you go to, say, a Buddhist ashram, for example, someplace, and you see people meditating, it's a very fixed activity. We know when someone's meditating, it's like this. They're concentrating. It's very fixed. Jhana means meditation. Sometimes when you see devotees chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, it's not like that at all. Right? It's not like a real deep meditation. It's inattentive chanting. And inattentive chanting will lead you to commit offenses in devotional service. Because if you don't respect Krishna properly, it's like the example is given, like if you invite someone to your house and then you don't receive them nicely, or they come to your house, they're in your house, but you don't receive them. Ignore them. You go to another room, or like it's very strange, and the person will feel, why did you invite me? Right? You're not associating with me. You don't want me here. Convenience to you. So if we chant the holy name of Krishna, Hare Krishna, we invite Radha and Krishna to come and dance on our tongue. But then we're inattentive. It's like where our mind is somewhere else. It's actually an offense. It's like inviting someone to your home and then not respecting them or honoring them. And so that is the cause of namaparad, the cause of offenses to the holy name. The next category of offense is called Vaishnavaparad. Vaishnavaparad means to offend the devotees of Krishna. If we do that, sadhu ninda means to offend the devotees of Krishna. This will block our advancement because Krishna will withdraw his mercy. We will lose a taste for chanting when he sees we're not honoring and respecting his servants properly. And then it will be very difficult for us to advance in Krishna consciousness. So Vaishnavaparad, we have to be very careful about committing the offenses to devotees. There are actually 6 kinds of offenses to devotees, which are, I can actually find them for you. I've kept them on my phone because sometimes I give class, and while I'm giving class, I remember this point, but then I can't always remember all 6. So I keep the note on my phone. So the 6 types of offenses, they go from less serious to most serious. Less serious is not being happy upon seeing a devotee. So you see a devotee, but you're not happy. That's an offense because devotees think, oh, sometimes you see a devotee, they don't receive you nicely, or they don't take time to smile or talk to you or like that, then you feel a little hurt. So that's an offense. More serious is becoming angry at a devotee. We can only become angry at a devotee when we are a senior to that person. Sometimes you have to become angry with a devotee. Sometimes you have to. So, but you have to be properly situated in the relationship. You have to be the senior personality. Or if a devotee does something really stupid, yeah, you can become angry. That's permissible, but not generally. If there's no real cause and you're angry, that's an offense. The next one is not glorifying the devotee. So you don't glorify the devotee. When the devotee does something very nice, good service, and you don't say anything. That's not. It actually says there's an injunction that one should not fail to glorify the guru or the spiritual master in his presence, because the spiritual master has so many glories, and it's actually improper not to glorify them if they've done something. They've always done something extraordinary. Then to be envious of a devotee, and envy will come out in 3 ways: in the thoughts, in the words, and then in the actions. So if you're envious in the mind, then your words and your actions will be negative or envious. And then to blaspheme the devotee, to criticize them openly or covertly, this is also an offense. And then finally, the most serious offense is to kill the devotee, which, we should avoid at all costs. So these are the 6 types of aparadas. So there are nama aparads, Vaishnava aparad, then there is seva aparad. Seva aparad, these were mentioned in chapter 8 of the Nectar of Devotion. If you go back, so many different offenses that you can commit to the deities. There's 64 items, 64 offenses to be avoided. That's what chapter 8 is called, offenses to be avoided. So there are 64 different types of offenses. And then the final category of offense is called jana aparad. Jana aparad means to offend anyone. Just the jana means the living entities. To kill a plant unnecessarily, to kill an insect unnecessarily, to kill an animal unnecessarily. This is called jana aparad. To commit offenses just to living entities in general, or to disrespect even a non-devotee. Sometimes we do this, especially when we're young. in devotional service. We disrespect non-devotees. You know, we think, oh, the devotees are okay, but the non-devotees, they're not worthy of our respect, and sometimes we disrespect them. That's called jana aparad. So we have to avoid these apparatus if we want to advance in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, you won't get a taste for these different types of devotional service. Ecstasy will not come. Right? You won't feel ecstasy in chanting and reading the Bhagavatam, associating with the devotees, worshipping the deity, or going to the holy dham. If you commit offenses, you won't feel ecstasy, even while you're practicing those 5 types of bhakti. Okay. So now examples will be given how each of the 5 main items of bhakti evokes bhava in the practitioner. So the first item which is spoken about is deity worship, worshipping the deity. Srimurtiya Shradaya Sevan, worshipping the deity with great faith. This is from page 109. Srila Rupa Goswami composes a beautiful metaphor to illustrate the special efficacy of deity worship. My dear friend, if you still have any desire to enjoy the company of your friends within the material world, then don't look upon the form of Krishna, who is standing on the bank of Keshi Ghat. He is known as Govinda, and his eyes are very enchanting. He is playing upon his flute, and on his head there is a peacock feather, and his whole body is illuminated by the moonlight in the sky. So this verse is stated because it shows the basic principle of deity worship is that the deity is non-different from Krishna. Right? There's no difference between just like there's no difference between Krishna and the holy name. Abhinitva nami namano, which means Krishna and Krishna's name are non-different. One time a devotee is within his name. And Prabhupada was listening. And Prabhupada said, where is Krishna in his name? Krishna is his name. Right? The holy name in Krishna, Abhinitva Nama Nama, they are non-different. It's not that Krishna is within it. It is Krishna in every respect. So this is the basic principle of deity worship. The deity is Krishna. This is what Chaitanya Charitamrita explains. There's several pastimes, Shakshi Gopal and Chirchor Gopinath. These different pastimes are given to make us understand that the deity is non-different from Krishna. So this verse is given by Rupa Goswami that we should see the deity exactly as we would see Krishna on the bank of the Jamuna, playing his flute, bathed in moonlight. Right? He is all attractive. He is non-different. Right? That is Krishna. So Rupa Goswami is making this point. We have to understand he is Krishna. The deity is Krishna. It's non-different. And we have to learn to see the deity like that. This type of poetic metaphor condemns what it seems to praise and praises what it seems to condemn. This is called parokshavad. Parokshavad means speaking indirectly. The whole spiritual world is like that. Everyone speaks indirectly. Thus, it instructs one to see the beautiful deity of Govinda in Vrindavan and thereby become completely indifferent to the attractions of this material world. So if we actually become attracted to the deity in the temple, we will lose all of our attraction to this material world. And that's why, especially Deity worship is said to be for grihastas. Right. Why? Because grihastas are in the bodily concept of life. They are in Maya, and they are attracted to material form. So then why do we worship the deity? So that we become we lose our attraction to material form and replace that attraction with spiritual form. That's why we do deity worship. So that is the basic premise of deity worship, that we worship the deity so that we lose our attraction to material form, right? And we become attracted. That's why for grihastas, it's important to do deity worship on a regular basis. Complete indifference is one of the 9 symptoms of bhava bhakti, namely virakti. Srila Rupa Goswami thus shows that seeing the deity, especially the Govinda form, can quickly evoke devotional ecstasy bhava, even in a neophyte. So the next item which is mentioned here is hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Rupa Goswami composes a similar metaphor by calling a friend foolish for having heard the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam and thereby becoming completely indifferent to the wonderful activities of Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. See Nectar of Devotion, page 109. He thus poetically instructs us to hear Bhagavatam, which is so glorious that even the 4 goals of human life are insignificant in comparison, because the 5th goal of human life, prema umarta mahan, is said to be prema bhakti, loving devotional service to Krishna. Right? That is the 5th goal of life. That is not one of the 4 purusharthas. Right? The purusharthas are dharma, righteous behavior, artha, economic development, karma, sense gratification, and moksha, liberation. But higher than those 4 goals of human life is prema. Prema means to develop love of Godhead, unalloyed love of God. That is the ultimate goal of human life, to develop love for Krishna. So that is said to be the 5th goal of human life. So Bhagavatam concentrates on that goal. The other 4 are not accentuated or emphasized in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha are not considered to be the goals of life according to Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why Bhagavatam is considered to be Paramahamsa Samhita, the scripture for the swan-like, the supreme devotees, the pure devotees. They will study the Bhagavatam. A denunciation of even liberation is a characteristic of bhava bhakti, namely moksha lakutakrit. Srila Rupa Goswami thus shows that hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, especially the 10th canto, can quickly evoke devotional ecstasy bhava in even a neophyte. So the summum bonum, the ashraya, the goal of the Bhagavatam is the 10th canto, which is said to be like Krishna's face. And when we study Canto 10 of Bhagavatam, we are coming directly into contact with Krishna's pastimes. And therefore, that is considered to be the most relishable and the highest part of the crescendo of the Bhagavatam. And when we hear the Bhagavatam, and especially the 10th canto, if we're qualified and if we have a taste for it, then that will quickly produce ecstasy even in a neophyte devotee. That's how powerful hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam is. The next item is Sadhu Sangha, or serving the devotee. So this is from page 110, the Nectar of Devotion. Srila Rupa Goswami describes the rich devotional sentiments of a devotee in whose heart the Lord has appeared. It is very astonishing that since I have seen this personality of Godhead, who is washed by the tears of my eyes, there is shivering in my body. He has made me a failure in executing my material duties. Since seeing him, I cannot remain silently at home. I wish to go out to him always. So when one associates with advanced devotees, this will be the result. The result is by associating with advanced devotees who have a deep attraction and deep attachment to Krishna, you will also develop that type of attraction and attachment. So our advancement is very much dependent upon the association that we keep and that we attain. If we associate with advanced devotees, we will become an advanced devotee. That's the process. And if we associate with materialistic minded devotees, we'll also become materialistically minded. So we have to choose our association very carefully in devotional circles. This text seems to exemplify how one can achieve bhava by seeing the form of the Lord. However, the actual purport is that association with devotees who are enriched with the devotional symptoms mentioned above has tremendous potency to inspire our Krishna consciousness. This verse clearly illustrates the efficacy of serving a devotee. So we need to serve advanced devotees. We need to find their association, receive their association, and serve them. And that will allow us to give up our material desires and attachments. Nothing is more effective. Srila Prabhupada comments, this is also from page 110. The purport of this statement is that as soon as one is fortunate to contact a pure devotee, one must be anxious immediately to hear about Krishna, to learn about Krishna, or in other words, to become fully Krishna conscious. So when you come into the association of an advanced devotee, that should be your motivation to hear about Krishna from them, chant the holy name of Krishna with them, and then become attached to Krishna. That's the purpose of association. That's why we look for association with advanced devotees on a regular basis. One who associates with advanced devotees will quickly become enriched by symptoms of devotional ecstasy, bhava, such as samudkanta, intense eagerness, and avyarta kalatvam, executing service without a moment wasted. Since seeing him, I cannot remain silently at home. I wish to go out to him always. If simply seeing a devotee can bestow such realizations, certainly one will rapidly achieve genuine ecstasy, genuine ecstatic devotion by actually serving a devotee. So find the devotees who have these advanced realizations, serve them, hear from them, and in this way you'll also rapidly advance in your Krishna consciousness. These days, we are so fortunate you can associate practically with any senior or advanced devotee on your phone. You know, like I was listening today as I was traveling. I was listening to various disciples of Prabhupada speak about Prabhupada. So by their association, you also develop, I feel my appreciation of Prabhupada, my attachment to Prabhupada is increasing by the association of advanced devotees. Next is chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. This is from page 110 to 111. It is said that the saints have been able to hear the vibrating strings of the veena in the hands of Narada, who is always singing the glories of Lord Krishna. Once this same sound vibration has entered my ears, and I am always feeling the presence of the Supreme Personality, gradually I'm becoming bereft of all attachment for material enjoyment. Prabhupada says this is the way to measure tangibly if we're advancing in Krishna consciousness. If your material desires are becoming less and your spiritual desires are becoming more, that means you're advancing in Krishna consciousness. You know, if our material desires, sometimes it happens, our material desires are increasing. That means we're neglecting our sadhana. You know, because if you practice your sadhana properly, you won't lose your enthusiasm in your devotional service. It is said that the saints have been able to hear the vibrating strings of the veena in the hands of Narada, one who is always singing the glories of Lord Krishna. Now this same sound vibration has entered my ears, and I am always feeling the presence of the Supreme Personality. Gradually, I am becoming bereft of all attachment for material enjoyment. The sound being heard in this verse is Narada's singing the glories of Lord Krishna, accompanied by the vibrating strings of the veena. Hearing Narada's kirtan causes one to become bereft of all attachments for material enjoyment. Actually, it describes in Anshalila of the Chaitanya Charitamrita that the Maha Mantra is actually the sound of Krishna's flute. Krishna plays his flute in Goloka, and then it penetrates, that sound penetrates the coverings of the material universe, and it enters this material world in the form of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So it is pure spiritual sound vibration. This complete detachment is a symptom of bhava, namely virakti. Srila Rupa Goswami thus shows that kirtan can immediately evoke devotional ecstasy, bhava, in even a neophyte. So it means that when we chant the holy name of Krishna, virakti means detachment will manifest. There's different words for detachment. One is vairagya, then we have virakti. And vairagya means, it refers to conscientiously or consciously giving up your material desires. You know, sometimes you think, we all think this sometimes, oh, I've got so many material desires, or I'm particularly attached to one particular material thing, you know, sex life or something, you know, chocolate or whatever it is. We have material desires. We're attached. So vairagya means we consciously make an effort to detach ourselves. So we might say, okay, I won't buy chocolate because if I don't have chocolate in my house, I won't eat it. So that's vairagya. But virakti is a higher platform in that one just loses his taste. He just doesn't have a taste for anything in the material world. Jamuna Acharya says, Jamuna Acharya was a great saint, but before becoming a great saint, he was a great king, which, we don't really even understand what it means to be a king, how much material facility you have at your fingertips. So Jamunacharya said, when I think of sex life, when back in my previous existence as a king, he said, when I think of it, I spit at the thought. That's virakti. Virakti means just, you just don't have attachment or attraction. Your attraction just disappears. Tujtabat. Yeah. It says the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. It says they lost all of their attachment to their government positions, their higher positions in society and their wealth. Tujtabat. Tujta means just like give up. I don't want it anymore. Tujta. There's our Dinabandha Prabhu explains it. So just we lose our attachment. So that's what by chanting the holy name, we should feel that virakti coming. That one day we just get to the point where we're just indifferent to the material energy. Sex life pales in comparison to chanting the holy names of Krishna. All our material attachments and desires, they just evaporate when we chant the holy name properly. And then the next item, which is also discussed on page 111, is residing in Mathura. Srila Rupa Goswami describes the beauty of Sri Vrindavan Dham, decorated with the Jamuna, Kadamba trees, chirping birds, and the beautiful form of Shyamasundara. Simply remembering this beauty evokes bhava. I remember the Lord standing on the bank of the Jamuna River, so beautiful amid the Kadamba trees, where many birds are chirping in the gardens. And these impressions are always giving me transcendental realizations of beauty and bliss. So why do devotees become attracted to residing in Vrindavan or Mathura or Mayapur or Jagannath Puri? Why do devotees become attracted? Because Krishna is there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there. The Lord is there. They are the dham. They are the home, the residence of the Lord. So when a devotee resides there, either physically or mentally, or both, then one feels automatically close to Krishna. You feel that Krishna is present. Prabhupada actually said when he went on Braj Mandal Parakram in 1930s, Prabhupada went with his Guru Maharaj and many thousands of disciples around Vrindavan, Braj Mandal Parakram. So Prabhupada actually described that wherever he walked in Vrindavan, he expected Krishna to suddenly pop out from behind a tree. Right? That's the advanced vision of a pure devotee when he resides in the holy dham. That's why devotees like being in the holy dham, because Krishna is there. You can feel his presence. And for an event performing his pastimes in Vrindavan. So that's why he's become attracted to these places. According to Jiva Goswami, transcendental realization of beauty and bliss indicates mental realization of one's eternal serving mood, or Swarup Siddhi, which occurs during the stage of Bhava Bhakti. Srila Rupa Goswami thus shows that simply remembering Vrindavan can quickly evoke devotional ecstasy, bhava, in even a neophyte. This is from page 111. If simply remembering Vrindavan can cause such powerful realization, certainly our transcendental feelings will immediately be aroused by actually being there. Srila Prabhupada says, such transcendental feelings are aroused immediately and without fail after one arrives in Mathura or Vrindavan. So every devotee, if they've made a little progress in Krishna consciousness, when they go to Vrindavan or Mayapur or Puri, they will feel some extraordinary reciprocation from Krishna. Because these places are his eternal dhams, his eternal, the eternal place where he resides. So, what are the results? Srila Rupa Goswami explains that the results of these items are not overestimations. They are true in certain cases and intended to describe the item's potential for evoking Bhava Bhakti when executed offenselessly. Sometimes these 64 activities are said to reward one with various worldly benedictions. But Srila Rupa Goswami explains that this is But Srila Rupa Goswami explains that this is simply a way of attracting mundane people to devotional service. The actual result of these 64 activities is Bhava Bhakti. So when we read these 64 items, sometimes there's a stuti fal, or like a benediction which is given. If you do the service, you'll get this in return. But as it's being explained here, this is just for neophyte people, because they always want something. Most people in the world want something in return for their activities. Whereas a pure devotee does not want anything in return. He just serves Krishna for Krishna's pleasure. So it describes that that the actual goal for us is Bhava Bhakti. It is not the results, the benedictions which are given by performing devotional service. The reason we perform devotional service is to develop love of Godhead. Some practices like Varnashram and Jnana and renunciation were not mentioned in this list of 64 items. Are they items of devotional service? If not, what is their relationship to sadhana bhakti? So this is an interesting question. So in regards to Varnashrama, Rupa Goswami analyzes Varnashram Dharma and concludes it is not an item of bhakti. However, a devotee who is not yet fully attracted to unalloyed glorification of Krishna may utilize Varnashram Dharma to regulate and purify his distracting material desires. So Varnashram supports bhakti. It is not bhakti in and of itself, but it can support our devotional service. For example, marriage is certainly not one of the 64 items of devotional service. A devotee, however, may enter the Grihastha ashram if necessary, to avoid sinful life and stay on the progressive path. If such varnashram activities are aimed at purification of the Lord for the Lord's pleasure, they can be considered a subsidiary item of devotional service. Without being aimed at eventual purification and unalloyed surrender, no aspect of varnashram can be considered an item of devotional service. So basically, as it is being mentioned here, all of these material activities in this material world, they are not considered to be items of bhakti. Marriage or having children or getting married or any of these material things, they don't actually evoke love for Krishna. They can support us so that we can develop love for Krishna, but in and of themselves, they are not bhakti. They are not pure devotion. Okay, we'll stop there. Does anyone have any questions or comments on anything we discussed tonight? Okay, thank you all. We'll see you next week. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Bol.
Hari Bol. See you on Sunday.
We'll see you.